Welcome, everybody, to The Circle. My name is Brian Piergrossi, and really grateful and appreciate to be with you. And whether you're here with us live or you're listening in some other place and time in the universe, you're in the right place at the right time. Let me just give a couple quick announcements that I think are exciting. So we were mentioning Michael and Sani Parisi in our last circle. And I have some exciting news, which is they'll be joining us next Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. I think it's going to be pretty phenomenal. So I highly recommend being here live for that. Um, and I think some really powerful insights and
Who are they?
realizations. Well, who are they? That's always a hard question for me.
Mhm.
My brain goes like,
Mhm.
um, I guess the simple way to explain is that Michael is a longtime friend of mine, and we've done some different events together, retreats and um, workshops and things like that together. And it came up in the circle last time because I believe Mark, you brought up Michael, and he was
I
listening
did.
to one of his recordings and had some powerful experiences with that.
Mhm.
And then I said, yeah, we should get them. They're amazing. They're phenomenal. We should get them on here and part of the circle. So that's is that enough of an answer for now?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, okay. Um, Take my word for it. They're great, and they have a lot of wisdom to share, and I think it'll be pretty special. I'll share more of their story next week. I'll record. So that's one exciting piece of information. Then we have a 1 day retreat, Big Glow Spring Renewal at our place here on 6 acres in Southwest Virginia, which is about 2 hours from Asheville. 2 hours from a lot of places, actually. Some places it's not 2 hours from though, but Knoxville, Roanoke, Greensboro are a few that come to mind. Um, so still have a couple spots left for that. So I think it's really important to come together in person. I think this is like a great starting point, and then having that face-to-face human connection is, the way we're designed to come together in community. So I like to have um, opportunities for that are consistent to come together. So I'm excited about that. Also have the personal coaching, couples coaching, uh, men's mastermind. So those are different opportunities to connect with me, go more deeply with me as well. The patreon.com/thebigglow to support what we're doing here, or Venmo, support what we're doing here. It's greatly appreciated. And thank you in advance for that. Let me tell you about a couple other upcoming events that are happening. So we'll be doing a breath work April 26th in Fletcher, North Carolina, which is near Asheville, in a place called Generational Grounds. So we'll be telling you more about that soon. We just got a date for um, Charleston, South Carolina. Beautiful city, by the way, if you have never been there. Really nice, preserved old town. One of the
Mhm.
old has to be one of the oldest downtowns. Arnie would know this. But I think it's one of the oldest downtowns in America, I would say. I know it's not the oldest, but one of the oldest. So some really beautiful architecture down there. Anyway, we're doing an event there May 17th, and then we're gonna do a 3 day retreat, a digital detox retreat. Very much needed. That could be something we talk about a little bit tonight, actually. I think Robin, you were mentioning that that's an important topic right now. So that'll be a digital detox retreat officially September 5th to the 7th at Christ Mount Retreat Center in Black Mountain. And then we have our annual New Year's retreat, same place over New Year's. And we'll keep adding opportunities for people to come together in person. So let me see what this. Love watching Arnie's dog. Yeah, Arnie's dog is like a spiritual teacher. So
He
I
looks
feel
affectionate.
He looks what?
So affectionate.
Yeah,
He was hugging Arnie.
yeah, very sweet. So I feel very open and available to what wants to come through tonight, what wants to be explored, what wants to be inquired into, um, what's alive for everybody. Feel available to that. And yeah, I just think that there's the tremendous value in finding a way to be present to the moment and finding a way to be awake and alive to the moment because this moment is where it's all happening. It's not happening anywhere else. And the more that we can be available to the moment, the more we can be a channel for, the highest and best versions of ourselves to flow through us in our authentic expression, and creating a space where we can be available and explore being available to the moment together feels like, to me, it feels like one of the most important things that we can do. Kind of like why we're here, what we're designed for, why we're a human is to be able to explore that together. And as people move through their lives, they tend to accumulate um, traumatic experiences that they're holding on to. And I think a big question is how do you heal from these experiences? You know, so kind of feels like it's like the question because if you can do that, then um, the suffering is transcended for yourself, and then you're able to be a vessel to heal others and be a benefit to others as well. So it feels like that's a big question of, how to, and so these things are personal and they're also collective, you know? So kind of being able so in other words, like there could be things that are generational that, we kind of inherit, we come into because we're affiliated with a certain group of people, right? And so it's a big question to look at and to feel into. And I think the more that we awaken, the more present we become, the more aware we become, because these things are often happening unconsciously, so we're operating out of these patterns unconsciously and repeatedly, and we may just kind of take them as normal, or that's just the way it is, or like this is the way it always will be. And I think there's this realization as you go deeper into this way of perceiving the world and perceiving yourself that it's not the only option, that it's possible to transcend these traumatic patterns that we may find ourselves, that we may find running our lives, running our decision making unconsciously or unknowingly. So it feels like that's a big part of the journey, and I think it starts from being present together and being aware, being present together or being present with yourself by yourself. I think they're both important actually. And the breath is, as you guys know, I'm a big proponent of working with the breath. The breath, I think, is a as a kind of a practical um, exercise is huge. To move through this stuff and to become aware and to be able to kind of transcend these things as they arise, and having a safe place, having a place where you feel like you can be authentic, you can be yourself, you can be genuine, you can ask questions, you can explore yourself, you can explore your own psyche, your own consciousness, and it's okay, it's okay to basically be in the exploration of discovering the truth of who you are and why you're here. I always feel like those are the two essential questions, like who am I? Why am I here? Right. And yeah, so I feel like that's when you can be in a space where the intention of the community or the group is um, to become more self-aware and to heal things that no longer serve you or are no longer necessary. That's a powerful, uh, beautiful place to be, right? And I think to be aware of that too, like when we're gravitating towards certain groups of people, right? Like why are we gravitating towards those people? You know, is it conscious and intentional, or is it unconscious, or what are the reasons? You know, so I think primarily this is the journey of becoming self-aware. You know, increasingly self-aware. Um, but I want to open up to you guys if you have any reflections on anything I shared so far, any questions or comments or uh, related reflections.
Well, I don't know if you'd want to talk about this or not, but I thought of a statement from the program, Al-Anon and AA, that was really huge to me in my letting go of fear uh, and paranoia and all that. And the statement is, you are only as sick as your secrets. And what I came to see about that is that, if there are things in your past that you feel like you can't tell anybody, I mean, it's always good to use discretion with things that are private, but often it means that let's say I haven't accepted it myself. And when you get to the point where you can open up to somebody, a trusted person, and tell them something that you've been keeping inside, it often the fact that you can do that means that you're going into acceptance of yourself, and
Mm-hmm.
it really clears a lot of trauma from the past. So who wants to tell us your deepest dark? Yeah.
It's
On
interesting.
the internet.
I mean, that's a lot of my work, right? That's a lot what the
Yeah.
personal coaching is that. There's more to it than that, but that's a big component of it.
Yeah.
And it's I've been I don't know how to this is like a this could be a like a whole detour thing, but I don't want to get too detoured. But I just want to I've been studying some things with Catholicism, and they have confession,
Yeah.
you know, for where you go and you tell the priest, you know, these different things that you haven't told anybody else. And I think that's, you know, there's a theological component, but I think there is a healing component in that, right?
I used to wish I was Catholic so I could do that. Not for the other things, though.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, there is something definitely healing about that.
Yeah, because they say in the program, this is another huge statement. They say acceptance is the answer to everything.
Yeah.
And I
I would
always think to myself,
also
that's
I would
huge.
also say discernment is pretty important
Yeah.
because if you're feeling really tender and vulnerable about something and you tell the wrong person, um, it's gonna have the opposite
Yes.
effect, you know?
Be really bad.
Yeah, yeah. Jacob, are you clean?
All washed up.
He even has a shirt on.
Are you
Yep,
excited?
I'm excited.
Okay.
I am very excited.
What are you excited
Wow.
about?
Um, Mainly just like reconnecting to God the way I have today. it's been just like magical, just amazing. Had a meeting with Brian this morning, and um, we did about a 30-minute meditation, and
Unexpectedly.
um, unexpectedly, it's precisely, it's so funny. Like this place, this experience. Can you guys hear me okay?
We could until you asked if we could hear you okay.
Okay.
So I think so.
Um, so so funny this experience, man. This place, the synchronicities, the magic that's available, the like what we're doing here, who you are, what are you here for? What's your purpose? That question you were just asking.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, just I've shared in a couple different spaces that um I've been feeling a little separate, some lower vibrational things going on. And just making sure you guys can still hear me. My video froze up.
We can hear you.
Okay. I'm just going to turn video off. A truck came through and ripped down our internet cable. So I'm using my phone's Wi-Fi. Anyhow, yeah, I've been feeling a little lower and a little disconnected. Not necessarily, I don't want to say disconnected, but just not as um high as normal. Um and that meditation, man, it's like it was really noisy in my mind for probably the first 15 minutes or so. Um, and that's not normal. Like normally I can close my eyes, take a deep breath in, and everything just falls away. And I go into this amazing like stillness in this space where I feel, I remember, I feel who I am. I connect with my soul. I feel like I connect with God like immediately. It's like present, I'm immediately present with like God. And that wasn't the case this morning. And I'm just sitting there and I'm, you know, just breathing and noticing all the sounds around me and all these thoughts going on in my head and I'm chasing them down and then I go back to the breath and I just keep doing that and then all of a sudden it just all falls away. Like everything, there's complete peace within my awareness. That's all I'm aware of is this complete still peace. And then I hear that it's okay. It's okay to let go. I've been like with this lower vibration, I've been feeling some like doubt and some fear and some stuff that I haven't really felt in a long time. And like, thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Brian, for facilitating this and being a place where I can like share this stuff and talk about this stuff openly because it's not always,
Just like Robin was saying.
yeah, it's not
Did
always
you hear that
peaches
part?
and cream. Yeah, I did. I
Okay.
sure did. It's
Okay.
I'll share my secrets.
Yeah.
I feel safe here. I feel safe sharing this with you guys. And life is not always like peaches and cream and or butterflies and rainbows, as people say often. Um, there's a lot of like heavy, dark energy in this world, in this existence that we're in. And so I'm really happy and grateful to be able to share this vulnerable space that I've been in with you guys. And I'm feeling in this meditation, it's okay to remember, it's okay to surrender, it's okay to let go and fully come into the light. And man, it's like the sun was right in my face. Like the brightest light was just like beaming like light rays shining straight through me and my body and I just felt so amazing and got this big smile on my face and there were no thoughts, there were no emotions, there was nothing except for the still like peaceful awareness, this place that feels like where we are from and where we reside now too, we've just forgotten about it. Or we're our egos, the distractions of this world, the human, we're here having a human experience. And that distracts us from our origins, which is complete presence with God. And man, just like I've been like laughing and crying today and just like looking up at the clouds. And I'll look up at the clouds and it's been kind of a cloudy day today. And I wish I had taken a picture, but I was driving. Um, but I look up and there's like a window in these heavy, thick clouds. And it's just more clouds, more like white, puffy clouds. So it wasn't all gray. It was all gray, the sky was. And then there's this little window with these beautiful, white, puffy, like cotton-like looking clouds. And it's like something in a dream that you would see. And I'm just looking at it and I'm just start laughing. Like, man, thank you for this beauty. Just to see the vividness. It's like I was in those clouds. I could see all the outlines, like very, everything was just very vivid and precise and beautiful and amazing and just brought me back to my connection to my soul. And it's just been a beautiful day. Really beyond words. Like I'm trying to describe this and I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job and I feel like I'm very excited and I'm expressing that. But man, I still at the same time feel like if you've experienced this, you know my words don't do it justice. So um anyways, I'm smiling right now, and I'm just like I remembered it's okay to let go and jump in. Like you don't have to doubt, you don't have to fear that this is real. Like this is who you are. Um, this is your origin. This is where you're from. Um, this is your soul, and that is more than the mind and more than the body and more than the distractions and the human experience. It transcends all that, and it's just man, I'm just so grateful to be remembering so well today.
It sounds like you just were able to kind of let go of this fog or whatever was going on with you. And then you just automatically return to your natural self, which is this happy, glowing being. That's what's always there underneath it. And but there was just a cloud that went over that made you think it wasn't there. And but you were able to let go of that. And then the reality was there all the time.
That's right. That's a great key point, Robin. Like this is always here. It's not ever gone. You're never separate from this. Your soul is always present with God.
Mhm.
Your body and mind is the disconnect. That's the separation. Is your body mind and the distractions of this experience take you away from that. And the suffering, I feel like the suffering is the separation, and that is what we are here to do. We are here to be separate and suffer until we find our way back to the truth, till we find our way back to unity with God. And this has kind of been coming up in my field recently. Like we are oh man, I just lost my train of thought. um
That's because
You
you're
were talking
beyond
about
thought.
separation.
yeah, separation. So um wow, that's funny.
Mm. You're getting good
Uh,
at letting go.
yeah.
Yeah, so letting go. Yeah, it's a beautiful experience we're having here. It'll come back to me, I feel
I
like.
always like
So
it comes back if it's important.
yeah.
It's interesting you use the word separation because Course in Miracles says the only problem we really have, the only problem is the problem of believing in separation.
Yeah.
That and and that made me think of a quote that a friend of mine told me in college when she had a hard time with other friends that were excluding her. I love this. Maybe you've all heard it, but it's like they drew a circle that left me out, but I drew a circle that brought them in. And
I've heard that.
yeah, I think that is so cool that you can do that, even if somebody is excluding you, which I think is a typical feeling nowadays amongst a lot of people. It's okay if they do that. You can let them do that, but in your mind, you can draw a circle that keeps them in.
Something I can share really quick. This isn't what I was going to share, but um so I've hit these lows, I've been on this like spiritual journey of awakening to my truth, to my true essence, over the past several years, and there have been moments of lows and feeling um this loss of unity. And there's lessons in that every time. And also when I finally am able to like let go of the fear and the doubts and come back to this unity with my soul and with God, it's like so much more powerful. Like every time it just feels like it's greater and greater and greater. And I'm like, yeah, really excited to, keep exploring that. Keep exploring these low times and then like really like blasting off when that connection lines back up and just going farther and deeper. And like every time I have these lows and then come back, it's like the lows are fewer and farther in between and are not as it's not as captivating, it's not as distracting to me. It's more of a like a lesson. It's more of a time to kind of be grateful for because I know what's coming on the other side of it. And yeah, it's just such a funny little thing here. I've had some like really funny synchronicities over the past couple weeks, and um, just little reminders, just pointing me the way back home.
Mm.
Thanks for sharing, Jacob.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Hmm.
Thanks for that meditation. And somehow Brian, man, he's like he always knows. I don't know how. So I just want to share gratitude and give thanks for that meditation this morning, man. That just And it wasn't a 15-minute meditation. It was like a 30 plus minute meditation. It took me that long to get it. And that was over half of our 1 hour session. And that's like rarely what we do. And it's just amazing how like the divinity of it all. It's like God knows. And if you're connected to God and you can follow that guidance, and I know like I really like look up to and aspire to Brian's level of connectedness with God. And when you're tuned in and you can have that guidance, like Brian knew exactly what I needed this morning. And that's what we did. And it wasn't a short meditation, it was a 30-minute meditation so I could get fully soaked in. And super grateful to be here.
After
Yeah.
you work with somebody for quite a while like that, I had this with a therapist I was going to. It got to where after a while, I realized I didn't even really need to call her or talk to her because all I had to do is stop and relax, and I could hear exactly what she would say, in my thought. And that was really comforting to me because then I realized, if she moved away or passed away or something, I would still have that ability to connect to God
Yeah.
within myself.
Well, we've talked about the telepathy tapes on here before, and Jeffrey and I have talked a little bit in a podcast we did about the telepathy tapes. I don't know if anybody has caught many of those, but um, I have no doubt that that's one of our truest forms of connection and communicating. And when I when we came back from the meditation this morning, and I opened my eyes, and Brian is like in front of a window, gotta be, because his face is lit up like the sun must have been shining right in his face. And that's what like I saw. That's what I saw in the meditation, was just like I was like looking straight up at the sun, and it was just beaming through me. um so yeah, communication without language and vocal, it's more of like inside communication. And I know that it's been studied that dolphins do that. I think different mammals, different whales, maybe dolphins can actually send images telepathically, like from one dolphin to the next. And yeah, it's just amazing this whole thing and exploring like the unknown, exploring what we have forgotten or perhaps never knew, or all the limitless possibilities that God has provided here in this place. Like, whoa, wow.
I think one distinction that can be valuable to make is that so like for example, you mentioned this meditation this morning, right? And Haley was with us too. So when you're connected to the divine guidance, for me, I don't know. In a way, it's like you could say I know less, but I know the only thing I know is what's supposed to happen next. So I have this sense that, and then the mind or the ego can tell you like can kind of argue, because it doesn't always make sense or it's not always like um, the normal way that you've done things or what people are expecting or what you're expecting. So so the guidance can be like, let's just sit in silence. And then so we're sitting in silence and then I just keep hearing like, keep sitting and keep sitting and keep sitting. And I'm like, wow, it's getting like we're getting over like 30 minutes now, you know? Um, but I don't know, like, what I don't know is like, I didn't know you were going to come in tonight and say, you know what I mean? It's not like, because people have this idea, like, I know everything that's going to happen, and like, I can predict everything that's going to happen. And like, but that's what the ego wants. The ego wants to control. If you kind of feel like this is like the ego. The ego wants to like control, but the control is an illusion, and so when you can let go and let God, as the saying goes, then um, then that's when the miracles flow. That's when the these things that you're talking about they happen. Um, and but again, like the knowing is not a no, it's just a knowing of the moment. It's the right thing in the moment. It's the and it's not even like a sense of like it's almost like you're present and relaxed enough to just sort of watch it emerge, right? Does that make sense, Jacob?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that distinction is important to make. Um, so it's like in a way it's like making the space inside, making the room inside to know less,
Yeah.
you know, but to have clarity of them in the moment.
Well,
And
honestly,
and then to trust that's gonna move things in miraculous directions.
that makes like the most perfect sense because if you're if you have time, if your mind has time to think about it, then that's when your mind or your ego is going to distort it. Like, so
Yeah.
if it's flowing directly, you're not thinking. You don't have time. You don't want to think about it. You don't want your mind to think about it. You want to just flow. And yeah, the more time that you have to think and your mind builds all these, like wow, like you said, like, well, this isn't something we normally do, and you start thinking about, well, this isn't, we're gonna sit in meditation for 30 minutes. Like normally we're having conversations and working stuff out. And so your mind, the longer that you have to think about it, your mind is just gonna pick it apart. So yeah, let go. Enter the stillness, let go of the thoughts, let go of the mind, and let God flow. And then, like you said, miracles will happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And um, having a sense of community, this is where community is really, really valuable because people will ask, like, well, how do I know if it's like divine? I think, Mark, maybe we might have had this conversation at some point or came up, or like, how do I know if it's divine guidance or if it's something else, right? Um, and I think when you have a sense of community, when people are giving you feedback of like, yeah, when you did this, this opened up and that opened up, and it gives you the confirmation of like, okay, that was the right intuition, or that was the right instinct, or that was the right guidance that I was getting. And um, we won't always get that feedback back. Like maybe we get the guidance with a stranger, we never see him again, you know? So we just had that sense in ourselves that it was the right guidance in that moment. Um, but if someone can come back and tell you like how it changed their life or how it benefited you, that gives you confidence, and gives you that confirmation to strengthen in that guidance within yourself. So I think that's really valuable. And oh, the other thing I was going to say is you can, this is important too, is like you can be following the guidance and you can also hear other voices inside yourself, you know, telling you what are you doing? This is weird, all this kind of stuff, right? But that's okay. Like it's just you can be able to be aware of, the ego when it go, things are not in my control. This is not normal. And you can be able to like just kind of observe that, and you don't have to like get in some big fight with it or kind of beat yourself up because you had these thoughts or these ideas. So you just kind of learn to I don't know how to say it, like kind of be gentle with that aspect of yourself. So,
Unconditional love. Give
yeah, it's
yourself
like you kind of know that's the ego um it's the ego's job is basically like from the place of separation is like to protect you, you know? So the ego is like basically um yeah, trying to tell you things that in its own mind are helpful for you. And you're just like, okay, it's okay. It's all right. Thanks for trying to help out.
Yep. Um, so I want to share with you guys also that I feel like really, I mean, blessed. A lot of you guys have seen my journey and the transformations that I've made from who I was to who I am. And I'm really excited about who I'm going to be, who I'm stepping into. And I started, Jeffrey and I both actually started last night training program that Brian has designed specifically for us to like open up and like fully step into um, our purpose and like what we're doing here and helping other people connect in this way. And something I've been thinking about is like all the traditional religions and the writings and the teachings and just considering how things are like really taken out of context these days. Things you see on the news, things you hear about, word goes around, and but by the time you get it, you hear the old story of when you say something, you sit in a circle and tell somebody a secret, and it goes around the circle and comes back, and by the time it gets back to you, it's like nowhere near anything what was originally said.
The game of
So
telephone,
yeah,
called telephone.
so considering that, like here we are in the year 2025, and just considering all the religious teachings and studies and how things have been taken out of context and um, how things were misinterpreted or mistold or translated so many times that it's not even what was originally said or meant to be. And um, like tuning into the guidance is one way that you just know for sure within yourself. You don't have to read anything about it. But then when you read, then you can pick up on, oh yeah, well that makes sense. I felt that. That feels right. Like I know what that means. And then there's other things you read that don't really resonate. And um so um just being somebody that can help other folks realize their pureness within. And so I think about like traditional religion that I grew up in tells me that I was born a sinner. I was born a bad man doomed for hell for eternity unless I do this thing and that thing and this other thing. So, if any of you guys have heard Joe Dispenza, he talks about the thoughts, your thoughts and your words are your reality. It's like scientifically, they're doing studies, it's proven. And if if you're getting told that you're bad and you're evil and you're doomed for hell and you're this and you're that, that perpetuates that. That actually creates that in this reality. That creates that for your world. You become that. You become evil. So I'm thinking right now, over the past few days, I'm thinking, wow, what if we shifted that and told everybody that you're divine, like you're beautiful, you are loved, you are perfect the way you are? That's going to perpetuate that. And like for me, in my experience, what I've discovered is I've not always been the greatest person my whole life. I've done things, I've lied, I've cheated, I've stole, I've been an addict, I've, you know, mistreated people, judged people. I have been that sinner, that evil person. And that's because, I mean, that's what I was told my whole life. Like, why wouldn't I be that? Of course I would. But waking up to my true self, my true essence, who is eternally present with God, created by God to experience this place, and that I am perfect and I am loved and I am light and I am divine. Like, that's where my transformation came from. Like, so who I was is not who I am because my beliefs and my connection to God has shifted. And that actually perpetuates more divinity. It perpetuates me to be better. I want to be better. I'm being present and aware with who I am and how I'm showing up and the things I'm doing and the things I'm saying. And even like recently, it's like, wow, you don't want to do that. So I keep wanting to shift. I keep wanting to do the way, God's way, because the divine, there's only one way. God's not evil, not good and evil. God is only one way. And there's no other thing, no other way to show up when it's God. God only shows up in one way. And it doesn't feel like that's evil or wrong to me. It feels righteous. If I don't know if that's the right word to use, um, but it feels good. It feels benevolent. It feels um, caring and compassionate and loving. One phrase from the Bible I know is God is love, and that's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like judgment. It doesn't feel like shame. Um, and that's the way that I want to show up. The further that I go on this path, the deeper that I connect to God, that's just the only way that I want to show up.
Beautiful.
Uh, hmm.
Thank you, God.
A- Amen, Jacob. Thank you for sharing everything, man, from your meditation experience to what you just said. Absolutely beautiful. And then I just kind of wanted to tie my own personal experiences, which are very much just like yours, right back to Brian's original question of healing and healing traumas. And I think like everything you just said is exactly what it's been for me, from connecting to God, realizing that I'm perfect and divine, and then just the journey to continue to just try to connect with God and continue to just live my life without ego. And just like you're saying, it's like it just becomes, things just become so much easier. And like my past addictions just kind of fell away, and various other things in my life. Anxiety is just falling away. Stress is slowly starting to fall away. So it's, I think that's I think like we're hitting the nail right on the head. So yeah.
Amen. Thank you. I think we're not the only ones like experiencing this either. And
Hmm.
I think like creating a space where we can all like talk about this experience that this similar experience that so many people are having um, is a blessing in itself. So I
Yeah.
look forward to growing like this community and hearing more folks' own experience. Like there's no denying that um, we've had this experience. It's our experience. It's what we've experienced. And I think just being able to share and um, I think that's the new earth, like creating,
Mm.
a space for people to have their own experience with God. Everybody's unique. Everybody is, you can have a similar experience, but it's very individual and it's very unique
Mm.
and beautiful. I wish my video was working so y'all could see my big smile.
Yeah, I've had
Yeah.
those experiences like with a therapist before where you really unveil some experience that you've had that you think is horrible and you open up to them. And it's just so wonderful when they can look right in your eyes and say, well, of course you did that. You thought that was going to help you. You thought that was going to get you something that you needed. Of course. And that is what you thought. And that's how it looked at that time. But now you figured out that didn't work. And you're looking for a different way. And it's so wonderful when when you get that kind of like total acceptance and love and where they see they don't hold it against you at all.
I'm going to bring up that vibration word again.
Yeah.
So, if you think of it in terms of like you're vibrating at a certain level of consciousness, and then in that level of consciousness, there's just certain behaviors and habits and things that just people in that vibration they do those things, and you do those things because you're in that vibration, and then you through this journey of like realizing who you really are, you shift out of that vibration and then you go into this different vibration and then people just don't do those things in that vibration. So there's not even like a longing or a thought or a desire or an interest or it's just in fact those things will probably be you'll be repelled by those
Mm.
things, because you're in a different vibration now. So it's really kind of like just that simple, and it's kind of very logical, right? Like you just, like there's certain habits and patterns and routines and things people do at a certain vibration, and whatever vibration you're in, those are the things you're going to gravitate towards. I think the question is, kind of a classic question is, well, how do I raise my vibration or how do I awaken in consciousness to be in this higher state of awareness where I have these different patterns and lifestyle routines and ways of living and you know how do I do that, right? I think that's the question that people want to know. um, so let's ask that question.
Well,
Well,
for
you go ahead, Jeff.
yeah, for me, it's been, I mean, a variety of things. Meditation has been huge. Prayer, physical exercise, all these sorts of things. I think like the meditation has been the biggest, just getting quiet and quieting my mind and kind of just listening. Um, yeah, I think that's been the biggest thing for me anyway.
Are you gonna say something,
Um,
Jacob?
yeah, self-care.
Hmm.
Um, well, I've said this a lot. Um, I was reading a book by Dr. David Hawkins, and it says in there, by good fortune, you feel the need to seek out something more within yourself. And then by further good fortune, you come into alignment with a good spiritual teacher. And I think who you're around is like key. And that goes back to your environment. Like you've heard if you take somebody out of their environment, a sick person, they can heal just by coming out of. So physically, surround yourself with you've always heard, don't be the smartest one in the room. Surround yourself with people that are higher vibe than you, and you will naturally, I think, flow to that. Um, so yeah, surrounding yourself with community, changing your environment, changing the foods you eat. I think for me, in my experience, the food I eat is crucial.
And that's
Like,
vibrational too.
absolutely, man. You are what you eat. Like if you ate a cow that was factory farmed and like wedged in with 10,000 other cows in a building on a concrete floor and shitting all over the place and eating slop and getting treated like, you know, horrible. Like that's that's who that cow is. That's what that cow is. And then you're eating that. And that's going into your body and you're digesting that and your body is sending that cow's self, its body, is to throughout your cells in your whole body, and that's what you become. So, man, I have noticed huge, and I can't even eat something like that anymore. Like it's like you put it in your mouth and it doesn't hit the same. Like going out to restaurants and eating in this way is like it has a it has a different taste. It has a different feel, a different texture in my mouth. So eating fresh, well cared for there, and I'm so lucky here in Asheville to have so many, like, people are really waking up to this here. And so there's farms everywhere. There's fresh farmers markets, like probably 4 days out of the week, all over town. And so it's these local individual farmers who I have become like really good friends with several of these guys, and they have families, and their families are working the farm and tending the animals and caring for the animals, and their animals are eating high quality food. And man, the color of the food is different, the taste, the feel, the texture. Same thing with vegetables. If you're eating something from the grocery store that's filled with chemicals, like that's what your body is becoming. That's what your body is being fed. So that's what it's becoming. So food has been huge for me. And along with, the meditation and the prayer and
Mm.
um, your thoughts, becoming
Hmm.
in becoming in control, just being aware of your thoughts and having the awareness to realize that you don't want to think like that. You don't want to speak like that. So you have to change. I mean, you can do it one thing at a time too. You don't have to, You don't have to have this list. And it's like, wow, change your environment, your food, who you're around, what you're watching, everything you intake. So not only the food, but your TV, your music, your news, your what you're seeing with your eyes. Yeah.
I think the key transformation, like the root of everything else, you hit on it earlier, you articulated it really well, is how your self-identification,
Mm.
right?
Yep.
Mm.
So if you have a really low sense of self-worth, you lack self-worth, you lack self-love, you think you're a horrible person, then you're gonna behave in a way that corresponds with that. And you're gonna experience things that correspond with that, and um, you know, if you think that if you identify as a drug addict, you're gonna do drugs. You know what I mean? Like, however you identify, you're gonna be doing things and experiencing things that correspond with how you identify for yourself, right?
Yes.
But
Yep.
um, when that sense of self-worth, there's a word that I love. I'm going to put it in the chat. Acausal. So, can you discover a sense of self-worth and self-love that's acausal? Acausal means it has no cause, right? So you discover a sense of self-love and self-worth that has no cause. It's without beginning or end.
It's just here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like if you can like discover that and kind of like sink into that more and more and rest in that more and more and like, have the sense of, who you are being rooted in that and grounded in that as the truth of who you are, then the things that you experience, the ways you behave, the lifestyle, the all of these things will correspond with this deep sense of self-love and self-worth, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, when I was a young mom, I was a Sunday school teacher, and my friend had this great idea for a Sunday school uh, experience for the kids that's along these lines that we're talking about. She had everybody bring in their favorite picture of themselves, and they put it down on the table, and then she had these little plastic rectangles that she would put over the picture, real crystal clear, so you could see their picture through them, and they looked just really beautiful, just like the picture. And then they took like finger paints and all kinds of uh, like um, texture things like sand and grit and everything. And they started putting they were supposed to put it on top of the plastic. And sometimes it gets so that you can't even see the original picture. And she said that's how life seems sometimes. It seems like you have all these detriments and you're so messed up and so marred and everything. But in actuality, you pull that plastic thing off and it never touched you. It never was about you. It looked like it was. It looked like it was all over you, but your real selfhood was always underneath all those things you did or said or whatever. And I think that I think of that all the time, when I'm trying to get a pure sense of myself, is that's what's true all along. And the sinning part is the part that's not true. It's all the how it looks, how it seems to be, but it's not your actual self. Because if God is good, how could God create something that is unlike himself?
That's beautiful. He says we are created in his image.
Yeah. I do have a little poem. Could I share it? It's probably two
sure.
minutes long. But it's long, it's all along this. It's a little bit
Is
childish
it by
sounding.
you?
It rhymes. It was something I wrote. Um, And it
It
was about,
rhymes.
I grew up with very religious parents and was always trying to be perfect and not deviate and stay within the lines. And yet, if you're going to learn anything, you've got to try stuff. You can't just, you know, do exactly what you've been told all along. You've got to, so anyway, that's what this poem's about. It's called Life is Meant for Learning. Life is meant for learning, and man, I've learned a lot. I've learned from pain and comfort since I was just a tot. My mom gave hugs and kisses. My dad, he spanked me too. I learned that if you pleased them, you'd get what's coming to you. Now, parents, they don't mean to harm. In fact, they want to save you from pains and fears that they've had and had the guts to live through. But life, it's for learning. And for me, there came a time when I found out that what I knew was my parents' knowledge, not mine. Sometimes it takes a tragedy to put you on your feet, to teach you that your theories are really not complete. Until you have the courage to step across the line, you really haven't lived yet. You're only marking time. My life has been for learning. And when it came down to it, my parents only gave me hints. But in life, I had to do it. Yeah, life is for learning. And man, I've learned a lot. I've learned that sometimes parents are right, but other times they're not. So don't be afraid to live. So don't you be afraid to live, afraid of change or turning. Just follow your heart and remember this, that your life is for learning.
Thanks
That's
for sharing,
beautiful, Robin. Thank you.
We're all here
So is
to
mine.
learn.
Yeah. So everything anybody does teaches you something. That's the silver lining on everything. And sometimes, and it doesn't stop because there's always going to be something you did today, tomorrow, that you think, okay, I wish I'd used a different word, or, there's always going to be those things.
Yeah. Anybody who hasn't shared verbally yet like to share anything?
I'll have a reflection.
Okay, great.
So when both Jeff and Jacob were speaking, they both mentioned remembering this. To me, it's an idea of perfection. And what I've always heard the Buddha say, or other teachings or it's more like embracing your imperfections as perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Because certainly we can't all be walking around like I'm perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're all making mistakes. So I'm just curious how you bring those viewpoints, or if I'm missing part of
Mm-hmm.
what their experience is
Yeah,
as
I can.
feeling perfect.
It's a good question.
Yeah. So I feel like Jacob Denson, my mind, body, ego here on this planet is not perfect. Absolutely not perfect, but that is not who I am. Like I am a soul in harmony and unity with God. And God is perfect. God created this whole thing. So that is perfection. And I don't know that my body mind is connecting with my soul, or if my body mind is just here having this experience and my soul comes down and gets in alignment with my body mind. But that's how I feel. Like Jacob is not perfect, but my soul is perfect, and that is who and what I am. This Jacob body and mind is just here um, as an illusion. Like
So
it's
do you
not.
feel kind of dissociated when you're walking around?
No, no. I feel like I feel very like present, very alive, very very connected.
Hmm.
You want to say anything, Jeff?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think Jacob explained it pretty well. That's how I feel. Um, feel connected. It's almost like I think Robin said this one time, like there's a tether up, and that's kind of how I feel when I feel this connection. Um, and then I just feel like a lot of times, like there's a deep knowing, and then there's like as I'm going about my day, like I think it's my intuition that I'm kind of learning to just tune into and just take action and things just kind of line up. And when things are lining up and there's all these synchronicities, that's when feel really connected. So yeah, that's kind of been my
Yeah,
experience.
and to go a little further for me, like I feel like having this connection with my mind and body to my soul, I feel like my soul or God is guiding my body
Hmm.
mind. So
Yeah.
that's how I have the awareness if I say something that is not like I said like God's way, then I if I'm aware and I'm present enough, then I can notice that and I can be like, "Oh no, that's not something I should do." So that guidance I think is making my body mind strive to be in alignment with its communion with God.
Hmm.
So I am not perfect. Jacob is not perfect, but that is what the guidance is striving for me to be.
So, Liza, when you think about trying to be perfect, how does that feel inside?
That feels very limiting,
Hmm.
constricted. Like I'm constantly thinking of ways I'm not perfect. I mean, that's
Hmm.
one of my problems is that I'm very self-critical,
Yep.
and I have a high self-esteem. It's not like I believe I'm a good person. I don't
Hmm.
believe I'm a bad person, but I struggle with depression and things that mental afflictions that I bring on myself. It's nobody else. And so I've just never had any of these experiences that I'm hearing them talk about. So I don't
Hmm.
know what that's like. I don't know what that reality experiencing that is like. And
Hmm.
so yeah, I'm excited. I don't know if excited. I'm interested to hear people's different experiences because to me I just feel like everything is just kind of like mundane ish.
Hmm.
Anyways, yeah.
Thank you for the question. Thank you for asking.
Well, thanks for sharing. You guys are both very inspiring.
Hmm. That's good.
Thank you.
Mm.
Yeah, thank you.
It's gonna be my goal over the next 6 months to like really hone in like how to help folks have this experience. Um,
Awesome.
and
Hmm.
you know, I think both Jeff and I are gonna like document this the whole way through, um, and share as we learn and as we grow and share our, you know, intentions and, um, eventually, you know, 6 months from now, um, I feel um, very confident that we will, come to a place where, we have enough, data and have been able to reflect on our own journeys to help lead people here. And I think we already do it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we in how we show up and how we communicate and what we're saying and what we're doing and just like being our true authentic selves is already kind of it feels like for me anyways in my personal relationships and um speaking to people at restaurants or the checkout line or um it's a it's a light, it's a vibration, I don't know, it's something that somebody can receive, can pick up on. Like people see it, people feel it, people hear it. I shared a few weeks ago, like my community travels with me. Like my community is within. Like I have community wherever I go because this is the way that I talk. This is the way that I show up. This is what is emitting from me is this sense of, I think, safety, a sense of compassion, and a sense of acceptance, and a sense of like boundaries, and a sense of um, what I like hope and pray for is like this sense of God that's coming from me and welcoming the people around me to do the same.
Mm.
And it is so needed. I mean, you
Amen.
really are needed, believe me. It
Just glad to
really
be here.
is needed what you guys have. There's a huge market for what you have.
That's interesting um, inquiry. It's like I agree, but sometimes I wonder like why aren't there 500 people on this call? You know what I mean? Like how many people are really sincere? How many people like really, you know, are like yes, like it's kind of an interesting thing, and I've kind of seen it my whole life where it's like, you know, you have like the proverbial gold that you can, I'm saying that metaphorically, right? You have this thing that's the answer that you can give to anyone who wants it, and people are too busy.
Yeah.
They
I
just
was
haven't
just
They'd
suffered
gonna
rather
enough.
watch TV.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
go volunteer in Asheville at a soup kitchen, and
Well,
all day you will have people that you can shed that light to. I mean, that would be a start. That wouldn't be maybe a money-making thing, but oh my gosh, there's people that need this.
absolutely. And like, so I think the money thing is just going to be like a perk, like we have to
Mhm.
eat, we have to drive, we have to pay our bills, we have to do this stuff. So we need money, but like I've
But
been
but
showing up like this.
but if you communicated like, hey, I have the answer that will end your suffering. The suffering, the intense suffering you've had your whole life, that you've experienced, I have the answer that will take care of that for you. Right? Like, are
Well, I
people
think you
in
have to
are people interested?
I
Seems like
think
everyone would be interested.
people have to reach their own limit of suffering.
Right. Yeah.
Like like that's what I feel like I
Well,
came here to do.
if I don't know, I don't know how it is now, but like 15 years ago when I went to my daughter's rehab, um, they were saying, they needed counselors in those rehabs so badly. And the starting pay was at that time was like 50,000 a year that to start, which it doesn't sound like a lot to nowadays this day and age, but it's probably, you know, grown since then. They really need people um, in places like that. I don't know, you might have to get some formal training or something. I'm not sure how that goes.
So Brian and I have been talking about this question that he just asked, like why don't people hear this and like say yes.
and dedicate their life to it.
So they're it's because they're not like they haven't reached their limit of suffering, right? But there is like if there is a spark in someone, if someone can come in the presence and see somebody doing um so well and have transformed so much, and they can, do the steps we were just talking, like what are the transformations that makes you have this experience. You can just start doing these things. Like this is what Brian and I are exploring in conversation um on our last one of our last calls. And it's like creating a space where um people can do these things that will lead your will open your spirit, your connection to your spirit up. So you don't have to have necessarily the spiritual awakening first. You can do these things, and then that will lead to your awakening.
Yeah.
Interesting explorations we're entering here.
Let's ask
Yeah.
Liza.
Yeah.
What do you think, Liza?
What do you ask me a specific question?
What's the question? There is a question in here.
It's
How could you make life less mundane?
I don't know. I've been doing a lot. I've done a lot of meditation, so I'm not the right person to ask.
Oh.
If someone told you there was a way to end all of the suffering you've experienced in your life,
That's what the Buddha said.
okay? So
Self-discipline,
would
doing the
you
practices.
dedicate your life to that?
Depends how many distractions I had.
Yeah, distractions is the key, right?
It's like, yeah, the
But
Buddha said go meditate for hours a day, but we are over here raising kids and working 8 hours a day.
okay, but if somebody said there's a way to transcend your suffering and you can dedicate your life to this and it will transcend your suffering, would you dedicate your life to it, or would you say like, oh, I'd rather suffer?
I would say, what is it?
well, I'll tell
Exactly.
you, I'll tell you that you can continue raising your kids and you continue working 8 hours, but you just do it in a more abundant, more
See,
miraculous way.
but see, Jacob, when I've like looked into this deeply, what I come to the conclusion of is, I mean, it sounds kind of harsh, but I just think I'm not trying to be harsh, it's just being honest. I think that people want to suffer,
Yeah.
and so they do.
Mm.
Do you think
I
it
mean,
goes
go ahead.
do you think it goes back to Brian, like the self-care,
Yeah. No, I
self-image?
think yes, the self-identity.
Yeah.
Like we're kind of like, I mean, there's a lot of different things going on, right? So this is just one
Mm,
particular thing, but I know there's a thing where like I'm not worthy of like feeling better. I'm not deserving of it. Like
yeah.
Jacob, there's the whole thing of like, yeah, there's a whole bunch of different like psychological things going on, or like it's not possible for me. It's possible for other people.
Hmm.
Those guys somehow are like more gifted than me or something.
Yeah, so Liza, I have a question for you. Do you believe that you can have the experience of what we're talking about for yourself?
That's very interesting. I actually don't.
There it is. That's the answer.
Yeah.
That's why you can't
Yep.
see it. That's
But
probably the
maybe
only reason.
if she wants to, and I've heard even if you want to, that's good enough. If you want, even if you don't want to, if you want to, that's all you need.
and believe
Oh, I want to. That's not.
yes. So I use this I say this a lot, like um look in a book, or we already know you don't even have to look in a book. We are, as far as our minds know it, we're on planet Earth, which is 24,000 miles around, and it's spinning at 1,000 miles an hour in an infinite vast space, orbiting a star in unity with other planets. And this star is spiraling through space at millions of miles an hour, all together in this galaxy with billions and trillions of other stars doing the same thing. Could you ever fathom something like that? Like, what? Babies from a sperm and an egg that you can't even see with your eyes come together in a woman's belly and grow into men and women grown like us, living
Mhm.
this life here, driving around, talking on our phones, working. Like, can you can you imagine? Like, what? Is that real? Is that possible? Like, if that's possible, surely anything is possible.
Hmm.
Surely there's no limits. There can't be. If that stuff's real, if you were dropped in here even from 200 years ago, would you believe anything in this reality existed? Anything is possible. Anything. Like, there's not a limit. Like, if this stuff was made, if this if this reality was made, then any reality surely can be made. It's just proof. Just like, open your eyes and take a deep breath in, like the oxygen is coming into your lungs and your heart is pumping blood into your lungs, and then your heart transplants the oxygen into every cell in your body. You eat food and process it, that energizes your body. Like, how sci-fi crazy is this? Like, it's nuts. So it's absolutely possible. If anything is possible, what do
What do
you
you
want
want
to
to
create?
create?
Hmm.
That's the first question I heard from Brian.
Yeah.
Or wants to be created through you? Yeah, I think I don't have any doubt at all, Liza, that if you just keep showing up here consistently, there's going to be
Yeah.
transformations happening
Mm.
for sure.
Well, you stepped out of something to just be here tonight. I've been thinking how life can become habits, and we get in the same rut doing the same old thing, and no wonder things don't seem to change. But when you have the gumption to step out of a habit and go to a different grocery store than you ever went to before, anything, any little thing, that's when things start to shift.
Mm.
Brush your teeth with your left hands.
Yeah, that's a biggie.
That's a big one.
And also,
Just
like, what is that part of you that called you here tonight? Right? Like,
I was looking for community,
yeah,
really.
yeah,
Mm.
Yeah.
yeah. But there's all kinds of different kinds of community, you know?
Yeah, I was looking for spiritual people
Yeah,
who want to talk about deep stuff. And
yeah,
I was feeling pretty isolated out here lately because I'm out in Mars Hill
yep,
and I'm sick of driving into Asheville. So,
yep,
yeah, that's what it was.
Mars is
yeah.
pretty far away.
Mars.
But my point is like that part of you that like guided you to show up here,
Hmm.
you know, just keep tuning into that part, you know, and it'll keep guiding you in the right direction.
Okay.
amen.
All right.
That's the adventurer part of you. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of that.
The little explorer.
Definitely.
And there's definitely lots and lots and lots of space for distractions these days, you know.
Yep.
So um I just think that this, like, again, like if you have the clear sense of like, okay, this is now, I don't think it's hard to find that clear sense, but if you do, even like maybe it's not clear, maybe it's kind of cloudy or murky, but you have the sense of like, okay, this is the direction to transcend suffering. This spiritual sense of spiritual community is my direction to transcend suffering. And then you realize that distractions create suffering, then it makes it easier and easier not to give into the distractions because you know where it leads.
Mm.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I'm really glad you're here. Grateful.
Yeah.
Good to be here with y'all.
Mhm.
And whoever else is here that's not talking.
Yeah.
And
Arnie.
there may be 1,000
Arnie's
more
here.
people to watch this.
Yeah. Arnie's here and he's not talking. And we said we'd call on him once every circle. So I think it's time, Arnie.
He spoke in the Meditation Monday the other night too.
He did. Yep.
Way to go, Arnie.
He
Yep.
doesn't. He does.
He's got to get up.
He's got to get
gotta
up
get
to
up.
unmute.
Giving you your nightly exercise.
He's
Oh, no,
probably
he's
already hiked 4 miles today.
Yeah, that's true. We also got Ryan in here too.
I,
I'm here. Joined in a
I,
little late, but I'm here.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, Arnie, what are you gonna say?
I don't know. Ask me a question.
How do you feel about the circle tonight?
It's been nice listening to everybody.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's been very, very enjoyable, huh?
enjoyable. And I appreciate, is it Liza?
Yeah.
Yep.
That she stepped out of her comfort zone a little bit to
Yeah.
come here.
That's what Arnie's been
And
doing too.
even me, I still need to get out of my comfort zone.
There's magic in
Even
it.
yeah.
Arnie's had a lot of anxiety about speaking in social spaces.
Mm.
So this is
And like
big for him.
Robin said, I need to go out, and like she wants to go to a different grocery store. I need to step out.
You need to go to a different grocery store.
Well, maybe not a grocery store,
Try
but I need to.
They have
I,
Ingles out there. Try Ingles.
Shingles.
Shingles?
Shingles are no joke. Shoot.
No, I don't want that. But no, I just need to get out of my comfort zone and go to different places around here that and practice overcoming my hesitations on
Mhm.
relating and communicating with people. I'm just very self-conscious about it. But like I hear all y'all talk, and Jacob and Jeff and Robin. Robin likes to talk. She's very
Yeah.
good. She's very good at it, though.
Yeah. I didn't
But,
used to be. I used to be the shyest kid in the whole school.
yeah. But no, I appreciated y'all's openness and candor, and but actually, Liza, you kind of, even though you're way younger than I am, you kind of touch me, and maybe you'll give me the courage and the ability to, you know, reach out and be able to do the things that I'm hesitant to do.
Yeah,
Wow.
Liza, you already changed someone's life.
I'm perfect.
Amen. Amen. She remembered. She
I thought
remembered.
I thought Jacob was the only perfect one.
We all are, Arnie. You too, man.
If you
Hey,
if you ever want to come to the Center for Spiritual Living here in Asheville, we talk about a lot of the same things that Brian does, and it's a wonderful community. So nice. People are so nice. And that's how I got to know people, just coming and, after a while I took on being a welcomer and got involved and just really down home folks, but real spiritual, really accepting of everybody. But there's a lot of places in Asheville. I can't say enough for going to a church or something in person. And
Yeah,
people love it when you do. They're like, oh, yay, there's somebody new,
yeah, I was just up there today
Up where?
in Asheville.
Oh, okay.
Oh
Well,
man, you're missing a good spaghetti dinner tonight, Arnie. You could have brought the van over here for the night.
Hmm.
Hey, I think you're still preparing for blasting off to Kicksville in Avenue, Maryland, May 9th and 10th, right? You still planning on that?
What? It's a May what?
9th and 10th
Yeah, wherever
So-
that is exactly.
He's
But
on
coming.
the Chesapeake Bay.
He's coming here for the Big Low retreat, April 5th. He's
Nice.
registered.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's speaking of like community and being in person, Robin. That's a great opportunity to be like really feel comfortable and feel like you can be supported just showing up in your authentic self. So,
at Brian's house?
yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I was at the last one. I loved it. I'd come to every single one if I had enough money. I really would.
You're invited,
Yeah.
Liza.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see if I have my daughter that weekend.
Okay.
Oh, you can bring her.
How old's your daughter?
7.
You can bring her if you want, or if she's with you.
That's a good age.
Yeah. All right, Ryan, what do you got for us? We're in the ninth inning here. Give us something.
Bring us home now.
Bring us home.
A lot of pressure. I don't know if I got a home run in me.
Base hit,
Triple hitter.
a walk.
Yeah. I'll say it,
Just
I
get on
really-
base. We'll drive you home.
I really enjoyed what Jacob and Jeff had to say in reflection of their journeys and everything, and just seeing them both come as far as they have. I mean, it's not even like they're very far off when I met them, but just to keep evolving, man, has been awesome. See you guys, especially Jeff, like much more open and wanting to talk in the public light. I think that's pretty awesome, because I remember when he's a little shy about that, and you guys are doing the meditation Mondays and everything. It's only feels like it's been a couple months. A big transition. It's awesome. Yeah, inspiring and exciting to hear you guys' journey, man. I appreciate you guys sharing that for sure.
I agree.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, it's exciting.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for being here. It's been great.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make it a great week. Send this energy forward with you, whoever you come in contact with, whoever you give this presence, share this presence with them, and make it a great week. And we'll see you next Thursday night.
Okie dokie.
Peace. Love you
Thank
guys.
you.
See
Thank
y'all.
you.
Take care.
guys.
Yeah.
Go to a different grocery store.
Go to a different grocery store.
Brush with your left hand.